Yeah, while you guys are looking at the numbers, I also want to emphasize that our plan to increase rental facility income is designed to use what we have. We're not in a position to invest $100,000 in recreating an RV park because it would produce revenue. We're in a position where we have to look at the assets we have and maximize them. So that's why our plan, our beginning plan, and really it's a plan that's been working on for almost 2 years, is to increase our rental facility income, because we feel like that we can do that and get a steady stream of income that's solid, that's fair, makes money, but as we discuss in here, it's influenced by weather, it's influenced by fires, it's influenced by other things that we don't control. So although we made a small profit this year and we will probably make a bigger profit next year, it's still not a source of income that we want to say that our fair is going to support the fairgrounds. Because in all reality, as Rosemary can attest, that's wishing for pie in the sky. We try to take all the pie out of the sky, we look at what we have and say, okay, what can we use that we have already to create a financially stable fairgrounds? And what we have is wonderful buildings and facilities. And particularly our pavilion, we feel like is underutilized, and that with an advertising campaign, if we can bring in, say, a fisherman's convention, we not only have the Rogue River and the boats going up and down the Rogue River, we have this beautiful building that can have the convention and can put out their displays into. So that's kind of the market that we're aiming at for our rental facilities, is to bring in outside people, and Cheryl has emphasized in the past, outside dollars. That's what we want to increase. And the reason we're doing it, I think when I looked at it, I thought, gosh, this looks plain Jane, but the truth is we're plain and we're Jane. But we can make money on this if we just do it sensibly. And that's what our plan is trying to show. On the second page of the numbers, on the bottom, what I did was I took the pavilion, the flower building, the art building, because those are our three main rentals. It's on that. And I projected, we guesstimated 25 days of rental at the pavilion, just with the increase. So just the increase, not total revenue, just the increase. And if we rent for 25 days, it'll be $8,000 increase only. And then I did the same thing for the flower building, which would have been $3,500 of increase. And then the art building would be $32,000, and then I totaled it up. So there would be, if we rented them according to the way that we did last year, not one more increase. I mean, not with marketing, not with uptick in the economy, just the same way we did it last year. We would have $14,000 more. If we do the marketing and we increase it, and as the weather warms up and it increases, because already we have more people in, just our campaign to clean up the outside and the inside of the buildings is paying off. People are coming in and staying and renting our buildings. But if they go in and nobody rents any more buildings than they did last year, that would be the increase in revenue.
So before you move on from there, your original thought of increasing your 20%, adding $69,000 short.
No, it adds. And then we have to get $69,000 more. It takes it up to $170,000.
Right. That point of your main three buildings, adding $14,000. I'm just.
That's if we don't do anything.
I know. Yeah. But the difference is.
Well, we rent all the other buildings too. I mean, everything has a pot.
I know, but if you're streaming, I'm just trying to make a point here about how I'm looking for the validity and either proving it or disproving it based on what you just told me, of trying to make up that difference between 69, which is contributing to the reduction in the $200,000. I'll tell you what I'm doing mentally and physically. I'm writing down how to get back into that gap. And the 69 is a very large component of what I've done that too. Frankly, when I do the math, you're not that far away, but a big portion of it is that 69. If you're telling me that over the duration of three main buildings are going to generate $14,000 additional.
Yeah, additional to what they rent right now.
Right.
If we didn't do anything else.
No, right. But that's not even the main body of the
I'm just wondering where the other portion is coming from. So that's 54.
Okay, that's the same question. If you, I guess what I should have done is take and multiply those uses by the complete total increase, so that it would have been like 25 times 700 instead of 25 times 160. Because what we'll do is we'll do the same as we did last year, and then plus 14,000.
Right.
So
69 is a 20%
Well,
increase.
plus the increase in marketing, so plus the 20% increase over that.
Just
Yeah.
looking for that margin to be made up, which is 54, and it's a 20% increase in marketing
well,
and everything else.
14,000 is almost a 20% increase over 69. It was almost 20% of 69, and
So that's not what I'm looking for. Those are not comparable. The 14 is just an expression of potential with what you're doing with the fees. I'm not explaining this well, but I understand it, and what I'm looking for is there's a gap there of not a small man.
Okay, so $69,000 is what we have. We haven't even begun to book our local events, our weddings, our different things like that.
No, that's included in that 69, I understand it.
There's a few here, but that's the very few. These are the ones that have planned ahead for a wedding, or there's a few on that calendar. But for the most part, people plan almost month to month when we get it. We don't have that month to month yet, because we're not there yet. So what I have in the calendar is what's there already. So if we can project if we only have to, we're at $105,000 right now. We need to get to 174 to be a 20% increase over last year. So $69,000 is the difference. So we only need $69,000 in rental income by the end of June to make it to our 70% increase.
I understand that, and she's talking about the main buildings having a rental increase and making up $14,000 at the end of that time frame. Is that correct?
That's
not
just
total.
No, not total, just the difference.
Okay,
Just the
I'm not
difference.
saying the words correctly, because I'm not drawing it correctly.
I'm trying to whittle down this 69. How are you going to get there?
Okay, what we're saying is that $69,000 is going to come in month-to-month rentals and fill itself in as people come in and book. Because what we have is 105 right now that we already have, are already on the books, prepaid,
Right.
sitting
Got
there.
it, got it.
We will book $69,000 more
How do you know?
because
That's the two in the bush. I'm trying to go after the one in the
Okay.
end, which is the fee increases
the fee
on the
increases.
status quo. And that's an added $14,000.
The one in the bush, though, has come in year after year after year after year.
No, that's the added 20% or $69,000 you don't have counted on. I'm trying to whittle that down. But what you do know, which is the fee, which is the increase in your fees, given the status quo, adds $14,000. You can subtract that from your required 69, those two in the bush. So now you're looking at 54. That's what I'm looking at. What is your strategy? Marketing is certainly a component. That's a pretty big thing to achieve 54,000 in additional revenue coming off of the status quo and what you're trying to achieve. That's just what I'm saying. That's
Well, one of the things, and we'll get into the adult and family services thing, the rental, you've got other rental buildings from the square dance, that's going to cut $7,500 off of that, because we're increasing their rental
right.
space.
See, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
do, is whittle down
If
that.
we go into the senior services, if we're able to dedicate a building to them,
Yep.
that's going to add additional revenue that wasn't planned for. The arts and crafts would have to make that a month-to-month building rental instead of.
Exactly. So you're seeing what I'm trying to do is
I
whittle
absolutely
down
am.
to 69.
Yeah.
And how are you getting there defensively? 14, 37, whatever that is. But
7,500 was one of them.
if you got to be able to, for that to be a valid number in my head, you've got to get pretty close to mapping out $69,000. There's going to be a margin that's just going to come in from additional rentals, but you can't rent a space twice. So
Right, exactly.
the fee increases is a way to get more revenue out of an existing situation of a status we already know exists.
Right.
So there's going to be a margin there. People who say, "Well, I can't afford another $100 on this rental," so you're going to have loss there. It's not a given that everything from last year is going to happen again.
It's not a given, but that's where the marketing campaign and bringing in from outside areas is going to help us immensely. That's what we have to do with marketing.
Right. I'm just trying to. There's an area of comfort with the idea that, you know what I mean. I have to say.
I don't think it's that tough to make $50,000.
So,
calendar.
in the last 5 minutes that we have to review the proposal and the presentation we got from Fair, I think that we do need to schedule this for a general discussion, but some of my preliminary thoughts are, we look at the $200,000 and break it down around what they're expecting increases donations to date, kind of meaning when we're coming in. They're on schedule for meeting $200,000 shortfall by the end of this fiscal year. As far as I can see, it's very close. I get to probably $185, and I'm not including $1,300 from this, whatever it is. The $6,000 an increase from last year's contract with Sora. It's an additional, although we did keep, I think, that $6,000 from the contract. It was $18,000 last year. We had a $6,000 kind of deposit thing we ended up keeping because expenses ran over. So my preliminary decision without an objection, that's where I'm leaning toward. But with I cannot support a 3 to 5 year plan. And I think we do need to come up with a 3 to 5 year plan and take this next 6 months to do so. So implementing some sort of I want to call it a blue ribbon committee for looking at the viability of the fair and fairgrounds for the next 5 to 10 years. But it does need a plan. It's a 50-acre asset. We need the fair to be included in that as a planned operation. But I think we need to set up a community of stakeholders and interest groups to kind of reevaluate this from a real fiscal, real estate, strategic plan for the county. So I think I want to review this more in depth, and I'll get the numbers laid out exactly what I think the market is going to be. We should all do that and see how viable this proposal is, because I think it's got some legs. Yeah, that's the potential.